What's the build-up mean? Like, am I supposed to announce it like I'm announcing the WWE?
Yeah, like, and
At
number
number
one.
5, coming in at
No, just
20
for number one.
years
Just for number
old.
one. Just for number one.
Okay, okay.
I
Uh,
already. So we have one. All right, good.
Number 5 for me, I've got Brian Gutierrez. At number 4 for me, I've gone Noel Buck. At number 3, I've gone Alan Velasco. At number 2, I've gone John Tolkien. And at number 1, this might have been obvious if you listened to the last episode. At 21 years old, the second best 6'8" in the 2023 season, Aiden Morris.
Love it. No notes. Oh, some notes, but no notes.
Oh yeah, I should probably explain it. I mean, I think the top 5 for me, and it seems like for you as well, was pretty clear cut. I mean, I think these 5 guys, just based on what they've already proven so far and or what they were able to prove this season, I think justified them to be in the top 5. Gutierrez has been in and around that Chicago team for a few seasons now, and I think this season was a really good one for him. I got him down as 2 goals and 9 assists this season while having 2,300 minutes. I think, to your point, I think him and Kutsias are going to build a nice attacking partnership in Chicago. Then Noel Buck, I think numbers wise, he looks pretty similar to Kramashi, but I think he had a better season this year. And I think it helped to kind of push him up my list. I had him as my top in terms of potential. I think he has a really high ceiling, hence why England came knocking and brought him into the youth team. And hopefully he comes to his senses and comes back to the US. But I think his ceiling is super high. I hope next season we can get some good minutes with him in a non-dysfunctional team right now. I think he also lost minutes this year because he got hurt at some point, and that definitely didn't help as well. But I think his ceiling is so high. I think he's a phenomenal player. Alan Velasco. I think I'm gonna come in with I think a bit of a hot take here, but I think Alan Velasco benefits from what I'm gonna call the South American tax. It's a similar concept to what we say about English players when you got guys like Pooley and Ziyech getting, a market value of like 30, 40 million, and then you see Mason Mount with like a 80 million market
Declan
value.
Rice is 88 million dollars when Tyler Adams is 25. Yeah.
Exactly. I think they just benefit because they're English. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a similar situation here. I think Alan Velasco being number 1 is a benefit of the South America tax. I think there's just South American hype coming in from him. And I do think he has good potential. And I think he's been able to prove some of that in the league so far, but I haven't seen a season where I've been like absolutely wowed. I haven't seen like a Thiago Almada-esque season, trying to think like a Brenner-esque season where he's just completely lit it up, really shown that potential and to be able to get that move to Europe. Like I don't think he's shown enough that he get that move that I think we probably expected at the start. But that's not to say that he hasn't been good. I mean, he still had a good rating this season, even though he had only 8 goal contributions. But I'd like to see a bit more from him. I put John Tolkien at 2. I think they were underrating John Tolkien here. Tolkien had a really strong rating this season. 7.12. I think it was the second highest rating out of anybody on my list. 2,300 minutes played. He's got 7,000 top flight minutes already, which is fantastic at 21. I mean, he's in and around the conversation occasionally for the men's national team. I mean, he's a very solid left back. I think he needs to work on the defensive game a little bit. I think he's really good going forward, but I think he was a bit slept on here at 6. I think he definitely deserved it to be higher. And then number 1's Aiden Morris. I don't have too much to add. You can listen to our MLS best 11s, but I put him in my first team best 11 for a reason because he was so good this year. And we knew he had potential before this point. I still remember us having the conversation watching him in MLS Cup final and being like, this dude can ball. And guess what? He absolutely proved that, and then some this season. He balled, and so he was an easy choice for me to go top of my list.
All right. Do we match? At
Considering
number
you said you
5.
have some notes, I don't think so.
At number 5, I've got Brian Gutierrez. At number 4, I've got Noel Buck.
Ooh.
At number 3, I've got John Tolkien.
Oh, boo. You
At number 2, I've got Alan Velasco. And at number 1, I've got this guy, Aiden Z. Morris. And as I mentioned, a couple minutes ago, I am a attacking player merchant, and that is the sole reason why. Brian Gutierrez, as you mentioned, 20 years old, 41 key passes, second on the list of all U22 eligible players. 2 goals. I have 6 assists because we don't count the second assist on who scored. With the right players around him, he could be really freaking good. USMNT level good. Like, call him in for Gold Cup good. I think teams from all over are going to start calling about him if they're not already.
would you say call him in for the U20 World Cup good?
I mean, maybe if we were lucky, but I don't know if he's that good. Noel Buck at 4, called into the Penguin U23 team or U18, I think it might have been. The second he stepped on the turf, people started looking at him. 3 goals, 1 assist, good return for the 18-year-old, 600 professional minutes. Established himself really well. Looks to have a bright future overseas and will only take more strides forward in 2024 for New England. The best left back in the league and the U.S. men's national team pool, John Tolkien, or Jamai, as he likes to be known, is an attacking weapon. And he's also really defensively sound. So 2 goals, 6 assists from left back in a team that has literally 0 attacking options. He has 8 goal contributions for a team that has scored like 40 goals from left back. I'm sorry. We're so bad. And we might make the playoffs.
That's the worst part about it.
If we win on Saturday, we're in.
I know.
Anyways, sorry. I got carried away there. Of all the U22 players, he leads the key passes category at 44 from left back. More than Brian Gutierrez, more than Alan Velasco. Unbelievable. He leaves this summer. That's not a secret. We know he's gone. He played his last game at Red Bull Arena. We wish him well. He may not have played his last game, played his last regular season game, but we wish him well. And we know that he will not only continue to be a better player, he will work his way into being the U.S. starting left back by at least 2030, if not 2026. Alan Velasco, there was a matchup between FC Dallas and Miami, and it involved this guy, Misai, who everybody thought was like this big, good Argentinian player. Alan Velasco was the best Argentine on the pitch. He outplayed the best player in the world, and he has only been going up since. 4 goals, 2 assists in 2,200 minutes, 34 key passes, and 69 successful dribbles. It shows you just how dangerous he can be. We know that people are looking at it. We know there are eyes on him, and they're ready to make dumb amounts of money to give to FC Dallas to get him overseas. And FC Dallas will scoop that up, of course. But Velasco, I think, is very good. But I agree. I think he benefits from being a South American who came over, and they're trying to be like, oh, look at what you can be because we're going to raise your blah, 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 blah. We're going to raise your stock by saying, oh, you're the best U22 player here. Come over here. And then people will be like, oh, we're going to buy you. And they slander on my boy, Aiden Z. Morris, a staple of the midfield in a very good crew side. Nancy trusted Morris enough to allow Artur to depart, who ended up being one of MLS's best center mids in 23. He was my first team center defensive midfielder. And Morris replaced him brilliantly. 97 tackles, 43 interceptions, 4 goals, 3 assists, 31 key passes. He could do it in defense. He could do it in attack. He's got to have European eyes on him because he's got European potential. He's got a U.S. men's national team level ceiling. He is the best U22 player in MLS this year. If you disagree, please go argue with.
I I need some reasoning why Alan Velasco is above John Tolkien for you.
I told you because he's an attacker, and I gave into the attacker hype.
But you have the Red Bull hype, so it should counter out.
Well, I had to. So apparently, including Cam Harper and Daniel Edelman was Red Bull tinted. So I had to make up for it somehow.
Not there. We could have matched all the top five.
It kind of sucks that our top 10 was the same. I needed to yell at you for something, but I could only yell at you for 11 past. So
That's all right. You got your moments to yell.
I did. I got to dig into you a little bit, which we haven't done in a while. So I'm happy.